I was looking at data from the last year of, clients who've had great success, who have lost the amount of weight they came to us looking to lose. And even though I know this, I was really surprised to see that working out and weight loss were not really correlated at all for our clients. So that meant that people who were successful were not like necessarily like all the people who worked out were not people who lost the most weight by any stretch. In fact, I think it was like 60% of our clients who got to their weight loss goal did not work out. They just got enough steps throughout the day, which I say is at least 6,000. 6,000 or 8,000, somewhere in that ballpark, will do it. And numerous studies have also shown that this is the case. When you look at a lot of these studies, when they look at workouts and nutrition and see which results in the most weight loss, almost always, if not always, nutrition alone or nutrition plus workouts are the ones with the highest level of weight loss. When it's just workouts alone, there's usually not much weight loss seen, if anything at all, which is honestly really surprising for so many of us because we've just been conditioned that working out means you're going to lose weight. You got to burn those calories, all those things. And it's just not true. There's a lot of really other good benefits of working out that I'm not going to get into right here. I still think you should work out. Don't say I don't think you should, but if weight loss is your goal, nutrition needs to be a really big part of the key. Now, why is that? Because people talk about that all the time, that, abs are made in the kitchen, you get 80% of your results come from your nutrition, all of those things. But why don't workouts cause fat loss? Because you feel like they probably should, because you are moving more, you are burning calories, and don't you need to, be having fewer calories? You need to eat fewer calories than you're burning. So logically, you would think, oh, I can either increase the burning side or I can decrease the eating side, or I can do both. And that should work, right? And yeah, it definitely should. And in my opinion, it does work to a point. I find if someone's completely sedentary, they're getting under 2,000 steps a day, I find it is very hard for that person to lose weight unless they're pretty tall. Just because tall people need to have a lot of calories just to pump blood throughout their bodies and stuff like that. Workouts don't really burn as many calories as we think they do in comparison to just like regular daily movement. And when you work out, yes, you are burning more calories, but you also often compensate by that, like later in the day, by moving less. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience like I have, where you'll do a hard workout and then you come home, you can barely get in the shower, and then you're like sitting the rest of the day. So when you look at the amount of calories burned throughout the day, if you didn't work out, you might be moving more in a less intense fashion for more hours, and it ends up being like pretty much the same calorie burn as working out and then just kind of sitting on the couch. And then I've noticed that in addition to that, a lot of people think they're burning a lot more calories than they really are. And most of us think that foods have fewer calories than they do. And this is something that's even true for professionals like registered dietitians like myself. Will look at a plate of food and say, oh, I think it has 200 calories and maybe it's 250. Well, if we think we're burning, let's say we figured we burned 500 calories during that workout, and we think that pizza has 300 calories in it, we're like, I'm good. It's not a big deal. I'll have that pizza. I earned it. But it might be that in that workout, I actually only burned 300 calories, not 500. And that pizza really is 500, not 300. And now I'm eating more calories than I really thought I was. And I burned fewer calories than I thought I did. I just don't think it's a good idea to look at workouts in terms of calories burned. I think the exceptions to this are if you were doing some kind of like marathon training or long distance hiking or something like that, where you really do need to think of like full day calorie burn. But that's not most of us. And even if it is, it's kind of rare. Like I might go on a couple hikes per year that I need to think about that for, but it's not my day-to-day experience. And then you might be thinking, well, if just doing 1 hour of exercise is not going to be enough to lose weight from exercise alone, what if I just work out more? What if I do 2 or 3 workouts a day? You can do that. And I'm not going to say that that can't be done, because I think we all have thought, well, not all, people who were athletes when they were younger, they're like, yeah, I worked out like all day training for soccer, and I couldn't eat enough food. Like I was always trying to not lose weight when I was an athlete. But I think that we underestimate the power of youth, and that when you are 16, 18, 20, that's very different than when you are in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and your body might not respond the same way. In addition, like, you were able to rest a lot more too when you were younger and you were working out all the time, or you were an athlete. You trained hard, but you also rested hard. And that's not something most of us have time for. If you are trying to work out for 2 or 3 hours a day, often you don't have the time to then rest for that equivalent amount of time to do a rejuvenating rest. Not just like, often we're not sleeping enough, to be honest, but also doing other recovery like yoga, like doing some deep breathing, all sorts of different things that we might have had the time to do if we were an athlete that we don't have the time to do now. And I have found that when we have clients who start pushing their workouts too hard, they start working out intensely for 2 workouts a day or every single day of the week. For many people, their weight loss actually stops. And my suspicion, well, I have a couple of suspicions, but one of them is I think their body's just like freaking out and is like, I don't want to lose weight. Look at all this stuff I've got to be doing. I'm going to conserve as much energy as possible and try not to burn calories if I don't have to. Maybe absorb a little bit more calories from my food, which you can actually do, by the way. And their weight loss stops. And then the other thing that I suspect is that when you're working out that many hours a day, your meal prep suffers and your nutrition suffers. And that can be part of the reason that you're not losing. Like, hey, I'm doing 2 workouts a day. Shouldn't I be burning more calories than I am? But again, it's so easy to eat those calories back. It happens so quickly. You actually, the 300 calories, 400 calories you burn in an hour workout, that's an apple and some peanut butter. Like, it's not a huge thing to eat those calories back. And then when you're doing more workouts in a day, you kind of have that mentality even more so of, I need to fuel for that. And it's just counterproductive. I find it's actually better for most people to work out 3 to 5 times a week. And instead of doing an extra hour of workouts every day or working out 7 days a week, use that extra time to work on your nutrition and meal prep and figure out what it is that you need to be doing with your food to be successful and not just relying on your workouts. Nutrition's not easy. Everyone says, oh, just focus on your diet. Like, that's the easy thing. It's not. And I think no one really acknowledges that food is hard. We talk about burpees being hard. We talk about workouts being hard, the squats being hard. And what's much harder is eating consistently. And there's a million reasons for that. But I just want to acknowledge that I'm saying it like it's easy, and it's not. It is not necessarily easy to eat in a way that's going to help with weight loss. If you have questions about that, though, please leave in the comments down below. I would love to see them, love to help you with your nutrition. That's really what I do, is helping people figure out a good balanced nutritional plan so that they can lose weight. If that's you, like I said, leave me a comment down below. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.